So many different activities going on. He worked years researching Albert Prettyman and planning and organizing that committee. He had a large committee that all work on this thing for Albert Prettyman weekend. I think it's most appropriate that a member of this Burns family can be doing all of this and leading it. Andy is a son of Nick Burns, who was one of the 10 brothers and cousins who were the nucleus of Clinton hockey from the late 30s right up into the 50s. And where else in North America could you find a town or city that would have a family that extensive that would be so prominent in hockey? It really was amazing. Of those 10 brothers and cousins, every one of them played Clinton High School hockey, and 8 of them played at Hamilton College. And then 7 of them played before, during, and after college for the Clinton Town team, which later became, in 1949, was called the Comets. Apparently the NCAA didn't watch out for who was playing which in those days. And really, some of those guys they were playing between Hamilton games. I think they were playing for Clinton Town team, and not even under assumed names. I'm proud to have known every one of those 10 guys except one. Robert Burns, Bob Burns, is that beautiful portrait on the left there of the two. The other one is your favorite Count of Kirkland historian, Reverend A.D. Gridley. They were next door neighbors on Winning Street, although a century apart. But anyway, Bob Burns played high school hockey in the 30s, and then he went to Dartmouth. I don't know how he got away from not going to Hamilton, but anyway, he went to Dartmouth, played his college hockey there, and then he came back and played more hockey for the town team, and then he went into World War II. Unfortunately, he did not get that alive, and so I never did know him. And the Clinton VFW, Schilling Burns Young VF, is named after him, and Jack Young was another Clinton High School hockey player who did not make it back. We don't think Paul Schilling played hockey. So, I think that sizes it up, and I'm glad Andrew Burns is here, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it.
Thank you very much. I think I am the first Burns of all my brothers and cousins and uncles that didn't make Clinton High School hockey. And I guess I'm kind of like a professor. If you can't do it, you teach. Something like that. But so I decided to study it. I grew up playing hockey and as a hockey fan, and how lucky were all of us that we could watch Clinton High School hockey, Comets play, and stick your thumb out the hill and watch Hamilton College hockey. I thought every kid was able to watch that much hockey. But when I moved back 25 years ago, I lived away, started attending games. I started thinking there were a couple things that needed to be worked on. And one of them was, I don't think that everybody in this area knew that the game started at Hamilton. So I thought that would be a good thing to explore and find out, why people didn't realize it. Everybody thought the game came from Clinton for natural reasons. Comets are over there right now. And the second thing is, I didn't really think that all these great hockey players at Hamilton, because Hamilton then included women's hockey, men, so did Utica College, and now the Comets were coming soon after that. I didn't get a sense that these kids are being brought here to play hockey really had any idea where they were. That they were playing in a legendary hockey town in front of fans that really understood the game. So that's what got me going on the whole thing. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that timeline at the end. But if it's okay, I'm going to run through the presentation of 100 Years of Hockey. That's essentially what Dick Williams did last year, but it might have a little bit of color that he didn't cover from some of the research that I did. We decided early on to have we're going to have the 100-year anniversary of the first game on the rink. At first, of course, I thought, well, we're going to have the Prettyman Bott Goring thing. We're going to have the Prettyman Bott Stanley. We're going to have the Prettyman Bott Jack Kane, you know, then my brother Will, as a marketing guy, said, pick one person, he's the only guy who started it, it's Albert Prettyman, and just stick with him, because you're gonna leave somebody out. So why not just go to the man who started the whole thing, Albert Prettyman. So that's why we came up with the name and the notion of thanking Albert Prettyman for 100 years of hockey. When I was going through this whole process, I'll talk about it in a minute, one of the things that happened when I was studying as Nicholas Palmieri back in Clinton kid in January of 2010. I live in Chapel Hill, and I was watching the New Jersey Devils game where Nick Palmieri was going to have his very first game in the NHL, and did. And I was watching with my wife, and in between periods, Stan Fischler, the hockey maven who's famous in New York for announcing Rangers, Islanders, other games, interviewed Nick. And of course I was watching, and Stan said, well, what's it like for a kid from the legendary hockey town of Clinton, New York, to play in his first NHL game? And I threw a pillow at the TV, and I said, Julia, why does he know we're a legendary hockey town? We don't know we're a legendary hockey town. You know, these kids up on the hill are playing, they have no idea where they are, but this guy knows. So I set about trying to get to know him, and I did. I found information about him through a writer in Toronto, and I emailed that guy, and I kept putting in my headline, legendary Clinton comic kid, and eventually Fischler got in touch with me, and I met with him many times in New York, and now we're good friends, and he did come back with a pretty good celebration, and he truly believes that we're the best small hockey town in the United States, and he'll come back for sure if we have other celebrations, but we'll get to some more of that in a minute. But it's really Fischler that made me realize I had to do this, because he is the elder statesman of hockey history, and we had to just grab onto this. Albert Prettyman came to this town in 1917. We were in the midst of the war, and all the athletic directors, I found some of this up at Hamilton College, were invited to New York City to meet with in the military. They had their NCAA meeting. The athletic directors and the military sent the generals in to say, you need to bring sports back to your colleges. Don't cut back sports. We need strong men to fight. So we don't want you to cut back on any sports, and we want every single Hamilton and every college man, they're almost all male then, to be in many different sports and physically fit. So Prettyman had a ticket to come back to Hamilton and say it's okay to spend money on sports when they were cutting a whole bunch of other things. So he set about holding the very first hockey game at Hamilton, which was on an iced over tennis court in between what is now the Blood Fitness Center, what we knew as the chemistry building in Carnegie. And if you know the campus pretty well, in the back of Carnegie, there's that little shed still there. So you can go walking in between those two buildings till about that point, and you'll see Burke Library, a corner of it, you know, up over here. But you can really see where that was. And someday I've got to get around and get a little plaque made for that site, but this was the site of the very first hockey game. They lost the first game, but we've forgotten about that since. In 1921, Hampton beat Cornell in front of 3,000 fans on Cayuga Lake for their winter carnival. I think that's when people started thinking that this really could be something. Russell Sage passed away. Let's see what slides I have here. Russell Sage was a robber baron type guy who grew up in Vernon, Verona, Sherrill, and lived in Troy. Passed away, and he gave his second wife $30 million or something like that, which would be billions now, or $1 billion. And she, for some reason, Wikipedia says their second wife, the marriage was never consummated. Now, how does Wikipedia know that? Is just, Wikipedia is amazing. But that's where the random facts that got in this thing. But she was very much interested in education. She basically, every educational facility in the country was calling on her, and she was giving them money because she had just tons of it. And somehow, and I'd like to get to the bottom of this, somehow Prettyman convinced the college to direct a good portion of it to Sage Rink in 1921. It was built and then opened in January of 22. So in 4 years, we'll have a 100-year celebration for Sage Rink. which I'm a bit of a wordsmith, but you have to be one to come up with this. It's the oldest college-built, continuously used covered rink in America. The Matthews Arena that is used by Northeastern in Boston was built before this, but the Northeastern didn't start playing it until 4 years after Sage was built. So they didn't build it, and they haven't been playing it as long as our rink. So ours is the oldest college-built rink. As a matter of, I just wanted to be first at something. So that's what we came up with. But the Sage rink is really a gorgeous building. It's kind of too bad just the way that the things work in this world is that it's now just so squunched in by so many other buildings. It's hard to really capture the majesty of this building with its little castle corners. So the next time you're up there and look, try to see if you can appreciate that a little bit. It's very hard to see now because it's been shoehorned in. That's the way things go. There's a great picture. They have 450 crank windows. There's no refrigerated ice. So the fiscal plant guys had to run over there when it was really cold and open them all up. When they sensed it was getting warmer, they'd go over and crank them all cold. But as any of us who played there know, it was the coldest rink that anybody ever played in. It was unbelievable. But that we were playing on one of the refrigerators. This is an early indoor Hamilton team. I've checked, and a couple of the guys from the outdoor rink team are on here. This is when they put in the artificial ice, and I can't remember, I think that was 50s. 50s. Or was it 40s? 53. 53. Very good. I've deputized you as my, because I really do not know the history of Dick Williams and Mr. Burdick and some of the others, or Tom Adams, so I might get stuck along the way here. I don't really have it all mastered. But that's when artificial ice was going in. Of course, Sage then, the neat thing that happened with 1921, with the Sage rink being open in 22, is the kids started playing downtown. But before we get to that part, Prettyman made quite a name for himself nationally. He was the first NCAA Rules Committee chairman for the NCAA, and he did that for like 25 years or something like that. He was also on the Olympic Committee, as was Ed Stanley later. We were the only small town with 2 members of the Winter Olympic Hockey Committee. And so Stanley was named, so Prettyman was named the coach of the 1936 Winter Olympic team. They could play in Germany. All of us know, it seems, about the Summer Olympics that took place later with Hitler in attendance and Jesse Owens. There's very little written about, because I think we just wanted to forget about it for very good reason, is what ended up happening. But the 36 Olympics were a successful Olympics, except that we were playing in a host country that was evil. Other than that, they were great Olympics. But there was figure skating, bobsledding, and a lot of hockey. And Prettyman coached the U.S. team. And we got a bronze medal. And we have this guy was there. He was very proud of the fact that they were holding these Olympics, so they really made sure that everything was all up to snuff, and there were a lot of people in attendance. This is the opening ceremony, and I can't zoom it in enough, but it was so creepy the first time I was studying this to see a photograph with the Nazi flag and the American flag hanging together. You just don't see stuff like that in retrospect, and for good reason. There is a story here. This is Francis Baker in the center, who is a Hamilton goalie that Prettyman brought along with him. Because Fischler learned about this whole story, and learned about the story I'm about to tell in slides. So here they are playing the outdoor rink. I want to go over there and visit at some point and see this, complete my research. I had a picture of Baker holding the medal. I guess I don't have it here now. As we all know, that was just sensational to have Hamilton College and Clinton on NPR News. And it's Fischler really that brought the whole thing together. And Jetty, I have not met the daughter. She's out in Michigan. But she says she's going to give his bronze medal to Hamilton College when she moves on and not to me. So that'll be our only Olympic medal. Maybe that's what we'll start our hockey museum with down here someday, in addition to this. Well, as we all know, the kids were watching Hamilton hockey and got fascinated by it, started playing on the canals in the village. And Fred Goring and Stanley and really Fred Goring and Prettyman and Bob Williams and others started freezing over the rink down Meadow Street This is old history now. This is not new history. This is the first Clinton High School team. One of the reasons Prettyman wanted to have hockey downtown is he wanted his son to play hockey, who was in high school. And that's his son there, Bert Prettyman. He was apparently quite a wild man. Bert married locally later. He went on to play for Clinton High School and then for Hamilton, and then also for the Comet Town team. So he, like my dad and some of his brothers and others, got what I call a Prettyman hat trick. And that is if you played for the high school, for the college, and for the town team. There's not that many people that did, and you can't really have one anymore. So, but Bert, and there's Gil Doring's grandfather, I guess that would be. Yeah, in the center. It's his father, excuse me, his father right there. Red Doring, yeah, who used to open up the rink for us when we were little kids. There's the Burns boys that got Prettyman hat tricks. Nick, Bernie, and Jim got Prettyman hat tricks, but Owen and Dick, actually Dick did play for the Comets. I found out later after I did these slides. He said he didn't, but the books say he did.
Yes.
But he was a little older when I was talking to him, so you forgot the couple games that he played for the Comets. I think I go on a ledge maybe saying this, but we had a town team. They were playing outdoors. People were enthusiastic, but something that really brought it to another level was Greg Bach, who was playing over at Colgate and breaking all the records at Colgate as a player, coach. And he started playing for the town team, the Clinton Hockey Club. And he was known as the best amateur hockey player in the United States at the time. And Greg says that his dad was signed by the Blackhawks, but nothing ever happened because of the war. And Greg can't find the letter. So we'd love to find that. But in any case, it was Greg Bott, as my dad used to talk about, that started bringing the fans in to really start seriously watching the Clinton Hockey Club play. There were other great players like Williams and so on, but it was Greg Bott that brought it to a new level. And he gave Ed Stanley, I think, the confidence to work with Greg to build the first rink. This, of course, is the first rink, one of our most iconic pictures. This is an early Comet team. Of course, I picked a picture where Greg Bott has a black eye. There's a couple of Burnses up there. Bernie Burns in the bottom right. See Betsy and Nancy are here. That's nice. There's Greg Bott. He, in 1 year, he had pretty much the best Colgate record, I think, of all time, was when he was player coach. 11-1 season, 52 goals and 36 assists. He, like so many of them, the war was mixed up in this. Had to go to Okinawa, got a Purple Heart. But anytime you look at those Mancuso books and look back at games where Greg Bott was playing for the Comets, he wouldn't have a lot of goals in that year, but he might have only played 6 games or something like that. He didn't play all the time, but he would have a huge number of points. Here he is. This was a slideshow I did for Hamilton. So this is the Jones kid from Clinton playing for him in the early 80s, I think. One of the stories that isn't talked about enough is the fact that Gene Long, the athletic director, or I don't know what exactly his title was at Hamilton, had been helping. The athletic trainer was helping a guy named Don Spencer, who had actually hurt his ankle. And they were working on different plastic kind of things to shield his ankle so he could get into his boot and be a goalie. And while they were working on that, Gene had the idea of making this mask, forming it to his face. And Don Spencer, they started using it and were successful with it. He wrote when he heard that Andy Bathgate had hit Jacques Plante in the head with a shot, which Stan Fischler told me Bathgate told him he did on purpose. He literally, because Plante had checked him so many times when he was going by the net and made him go into that he took a shot right at his forehead and hit him and put Plante out with a lot of bleeding and all that. So Don Spencer wrote Jacques Plante from the Deke House, and this is the letter, a copy of the letter, saying in so many words, I recently read in the New York Times about your considering wearing a face mask for the first time. An NHL goalie was saying, I think I have, it would be one of the big wire things or something. He said, you ought to consider this face mask. And he never heard back from him, but 2 weeks later, he was on the ice with a mask looking just like that. So the people at Hamilton argue that he stole the idea, but who knows now. But the face mask really was, and there's 2 wonderful examples of that mask at Altieri's. Jimmy Frazier's mask and Daryl Hunt's masks are both at the end of the bar up at the top to see examples of what these things look like. That's a little part of our history that is Hamilton history and Clinton history as extension. Of course, in the late 40s, we started hiring professional Canadian hockey players, like Mr. Jennings here, to come in, and the team went from a town team to a professional, truly professional Canadian hockey. And just the way that whole thing worked with our town, and that we had professional hockey, and then most of these guys, including Mr. Jennings, who was my coach, started coaching the youth hockey teams. So we were already producing a lot of great hockey players. Karen and all these others were great hockey players. But it really got accelerated when we had Jack Kane and Tim Hook and Jennings and all these Comets as our coaches. And that's how we sent so many kids to Hamilton and Williams and Princeton and Yale and Brown and UVM and all these other places to play. We really had quite an amazing little formula here. And bigger, we really only have 1 sheet of ice now because we hardly ever use Hamilton's. But when I was a kid, when most of you were here, that was really kind of our ice too. But they didn't have a women's team, and people didn't play as much back then. And so there's reasons for it, but it's a reason why in the future we might want to have more ice here. This is one of the original teams with Pete Lavando, one of the most famous NHL stars to come to play at Clinton after his career with the Detroit Red Wings. Boy, does it get any more famous than that. His son Matt, looking just like that, was over at the village earlier, wearing a big orange shirt. It so happened. I don't think he was doing it for this reason. But that was kind of fun. I was able to get from Teresa a picture of the marquee across the street the first time the movie played here. Our marquee wasn't very big. So it says, Slapshot the movie, but it's starring P. Newman and Joe Nolan. So Joe gets full billing. I don't know if P. Newman ever saw it. You'll feel it's up. But that was, and there's Joe being interviewed right down here in front of that. But Teresa shared that picture with me. That's kind of a fun one in my view. So what do we have now? We have Hamilton Continentals, men's team. This is from a year and a half ago. They're actually doing extremely well. This was a thing I had prepared for my class up at Hamilton, which I'll talk about in a minute. So this is an older team from that era. There's Mr. Bott as the coach, and John Karen as the assistant coach. Back in 1978, we have women's hockey now, the Clinton Warriors, and now we have women's hockey, the Bobcats. What's the name of the women's hockey team in Clinton now, the girls hockey team? Bobcats. In the high school. Yeah, so a lot more hockey going on. And then the Utica Pioneers are coached by an ex-Hamilton player, Gary Heenan. I must say that rivalry between Utica and Hamilton was really a very special thing when I moved back here 20 years ago. Unfortunately, it ended due to an incident. And one of my goals going forward is to get that back on track. The incident, all those people are gone, and so I think we can maybe get that back on track. That could be our Duke-UNC rivalry, because it really was a well-attended game. If we made a big deal out of it, we could raise money for youth hockey and really make that a home and home with the new Clinton Arena with all its new ice and such. We could make something out of it. That's one of my goals. It's a stretch goal because of what happened. And of course, the Utica Comets. A lot of people talk about history anywhere, and they talk about the barbershop on the corner, the candy store down on that corner, and it's all gone. In our case, it's just beginning. I mean, it's never been bigger than it is now. The Utica Comets part of the NHL. So our story is not an old story, it's just beginning. We've got another 100 years of this. There's a nice shot of the Clinton Arena, the Utica Memorial Auditorium. One of the things I learned in my research is that this is on the National Registry of Historic Engineering something or other, architectural, because it was the first arena with an unobstructed view and a flat roof. So you always had to build those barns, basically. That's what we call them, barns, because nobody had figured out the suspension, the idea of using cables to hang cables from a central bicycle wheel type thing and then hang all these cables. And this Utica Auditorium is the precursor to Madison Square Garden. The garden happened because this was the test. We were the test case in Utica. And it's actually a very collectible rink in its own right. It's great to see that it's being used so much now. The American Society of Civil Engineers named it as a landmark. But you do really can, when you show this to people from Manhattan, they can't believe they're seeing the mini MSG, mini-me, right there. And I had this before because I didn't have the NPR piece, but this was just to say how we started off with Prettyman having to train men for the war, and how it ended up that Francis Baker made good on his promise with Hitler to have America always beat Germany. So this I had in there just as, I don't think Baker's one of those guys. I think he came the day after. This is Francis Baker. This is him later in life holding his bronze medal that we hope someday will be returned to Clinton and Hamilton for display. She has shared a lot of things with me, but not the bronze medal yet. I'm working on it. So in 100 years, and again, this slideshow, I've been a little bit busy with Craft Hockeyville, so I haven't updated this. 94 years at Clinton High School, a youth hockey, say, arena, an auditorium. That's a nice hat trick with rinks. USA bronze medal. Our only Olympic medal winner, Francis Baker. 70 years of Clinton Figure Skating Club. 35 years of women's hockey at Hamilton and Clinton. Professional hockey for 45 years. The American Hockey League, whether it's the Vancouver Canucks, Utica Comets, or the Old Devils. Utica Pioneers have a fantastic hockey program. Countless 10 NHL participants. And if I had one more bullet, it'd say winner of Craft Hockey. So again, thank you, Albert Prettyman. And I wanted to just tack on a few more thoughts because Mr. Burdick wanted me to talk about what got you going on. Like, how long did you work on this? When did you start working on it? And I hinted at it early on that I had this sense that people didn't know the game was brought here by Hamilton College. That's where the first, and I didn't think that the players knew that they were playing in a legendary town when they came in here from New Canaan or wherever to play at Hamilton. I think they could have just as easily been anywhere, and they would. I got Bernie Burns, my dad's cousin, to come with me to speak to the Hamilton team. That's the first thing that I did when I was flailing with this concept. That was in '06. That's a long time ago. And we went up and just spoke to the team, and I said, Bernie, you're on. What's the history of Clinton hockey? Well, Sherman, there was Stanley, there was Bott, and we tried to do it, but we really didn't have a really cohesive story of the whole thing. But the players loved it. They were very, very interested. They asked a lot of questions, and I thought, I'm going to start teaching. I'm going to start studying so I know what the true history of this whole thing is. That's really when it started, was me and Bernie speaking to the team. And we gave the captains of the team the Mancuso books, which they then called me later and had questions about. It was really pretty cool. And then in December '06, which was only a month later, Utica College played versus Hamilton at the arena for the first time. We got a game, Hamilton to come to the arena to play. And I looked around, and in the arena, most of the kids had Utica College jerseys. They didn't have Hamilton jerseys. Like, what's going on? We got to fix this. I didn't like that. And I think if we can ever get this rivalry back again, and they play at the arena, I'm guessing they're not wearing Utica College jerseys next time around. There's been a whole bunch of great things. Tom Onens started a thing called On the Hill, called Breaking Bread, which is where Hamilton players and Clinton youth hockey all go to Altieri's and have a dinner. And then the families adopt one of the Hamilton players. And And then he goes to their house on Sundays for meals. They attend each other's practices. They go to each other's games, and then they stay in touch with each other. It's been a fantastic thing. And now the Hamilton women are doing it through a thing called Ham Pals, which is the exact same thing, but just for the women's hockey with girls hockey players in town. So that's another thing that started. In 2007, I moved away, and then it was in 2010, I kind of stopped doing all this. That Palmieri and Fishler went on the TV, and Fishler said legendary hockey town. And so then I started really going deep in terms of researching, why does he think we're legendary? And I started realizing pretty quickly why. And then I was working on a slideshow like this, because I thought I was going to do a movie. That's what I first thought. I was going to do a documentary movie about Prettyman. And my Hamilton hockey alums had just spontaneously gotten together to have Ted Malloy have a whole bunch of guys come back and have a little reunion. There really wasn't much going on in that regard. They were in the Altieri's in the back room. I said, Ted, I put a slideshow together. It's basically this. Do you mind if I show it to everyone? Yeah, go ahead. Which I did. Ben Madonia was there. And these guys these are Hamilton players from the 1970s, had no idea of any of this history. Zero. And they loved it. They were completely all over it. I was like, I need to work on this thing. We need to fix this. This is never going to happen again. So that was really a key thing when I started getting involved in this whole thing. Then Ben Madonia, while I was working on the whole thing, sent an email saying, hey, there's this Kraft Hockeyville Award you might start thinking about. We're starting to plan the Prettyman 100-year thing, and we'd all heard about that a little bit, but he was folding it in. There's Ben back there. He was folding it in a little bit of my plan. So I started putting in our little memos that we wrote about celebrating the 100-year stretch goal of Kraft Hockeyville. But let's work on that after we do Prettyman. There was some thought of doing it before, but I think it was my wife Julia who said, no, Andy, wait till you've done Prettyman, and then you'll have all this enthusiasm. Then it'll be easy to win that thing. Right? Well, she's right. She's right, again. And so with the enthusiasm of the 100-year celebration, when we had 1,000 Clinton, this is in February this year, Clinton alumni players, fans, and Hamilton alumni players and fans. And for the first time ever, it was all in one weekend, Hamilton and Clinton. We watched 2 Hamilton games, 1 Clinton High School game, and then there were played 8 alumni games, variously, at Hamilton, Sage, and down here. I mean, I've never seen so many smiling men in my life as throughout that weekend. And that's when we were organized enough and had the emails and had the phone numbers and so on to say, we can do this Kraft Hockeyville thing. But I couldn't do it because I was exhausted. So the day I was leaving from Prettyman weekend, I invited Patty Louise, who is from owns the Waterville Times, and she had helped with the program that we had put together for the weekend. And she was just an angel that flew into the process. She agreed to print this whole thing up for the Prettyman weekend. And it's now on our website in a little flippy type thing where you can go through with your fingers, really cool, and see this thing online. But she agreed to do this entire thing for Prettyman weekend, for basically, just for volunteer time. And I said, Patty, would you do Kraft Hockeyville? I can't do anymore. And she took it on. And she's the reason why we got so many people voting, submitting stories, and why we won. I've been helping a little bit, but she really is the key person. But that's the background of kind of how I found my way to this Prettyman weekend, and then how we used that enthusiasm to win the Kraft Hockeyville Award. And I'm so glad everybody's here. Any questions? And I have deputized Dick Williams and others for technical, historical questions that I might be